What's going on, traders? Welcome to another video. This is Abdul, and in this video we're going to be talking about the journey of a trader. In this video I'm going to be talking about all the steps and stages that traders have to go through. I'm going to talk a little bit about my story, and it's going to resonate with a lot of you guys because as traders we all go through the same steps, we all go through the same stages. Nobody starts off trading and is instantly profitable. We all have to start somewhere, we have to start learning, and these are the four main stages that we all go through. So unprofitable, break even, profitable, and scaling. And excuse my bad drawing here, I couldn't even draw a line straight, but you can see that this unprofitable stage, I've tried to make it as big as possible because that's where most traders are. That's where a majority of the traders spend a majority of their time. And that's really the most difficult stage for a trader to go through because there's so much going on, so many emotions at play. They're new to the game, or even if you're a year or two in, there's still a lot going on. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can fall into a trap, and it's just going to have you stay at this stage a lot longer. So let's start off with the unprofitable stage. Now, personally for me, I started in late 2015. So Q4 2015, I started around October, November. I actually was introduced to trading by social media, and I had just seen some posts from a few traders, and they were showing off how much money they made and the vacations that they were taking. So naturally that piqued my interest. Now at that time I was working as a UPS driver, and it was long shifts, especially at that time during Q4 when it's snowing, when it's cold outside. Some days were minus 30, minus 40, and I just wanted something to help me get out of that job. So seeing these posts on social media, these traders on the beach, trading, enjoying their life, driving luxury cars, that just piqued my interest and I had to get into it. Now the first thing that I actually did was I bought a course from a mentor, and I still remember it was $5,000. I have a receipt somewhere saved, and at that time that was a good chunk of change for me. But I knew I had to do something in order to get started where I could potentially leave my job and be able to live the life that these traders were living. So I got started, I started going through the course, and I started trading. Now that right there was my first mistake that I made. Starting trading too soon. Before I even went through the course and really understood what I was looking at on the charts, I started trading and just taking random trades that I would find. And I actually started off with stocks. Now I trade Forex and futures, but at that time stocks were the big thing and everybody wanted to get into them. So I started trading and I started seeing some results. My account literally went, for the first 9 months, it went like this, right? I started off with 50K, and I grew that account to about 125K plus. And this was all in the course of 9 months. So you could imagine I was ecstatic. I had quit my job already. I said, this is going to be my future. This is what I'm going to be doing. And during this time, I was popping up on the leaderboards of my mentor's group. And during this whole time, keep in mind, I had no idea what I was doing. I was waking up, I was taking trades that I had no business taking, and if the trade went up, I would close it out for profit. If it didn't, I would buy in more dollar cost average and try to get out at either break even or a little bit of profit. So obviously that's not a strategy, but you can see still somehow I was making money, I was on leaderboards, people thought I knew what I was doing. And it really validated it for me that, hey, people are messaging me, congratulating me, telling me how well I'm doing. But during that whole time, I knew just in the back of my head that this isn't really sustainable. But because I was making money, I kept pushing that thought to the back of my head and I wasn't worried about it too much. Now, this is where the real downfall happened for me. After that first 9 months, the following 3 months, my account went like this. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. So now this account that I started with $50,000, grew it to $125,000, ended up at $10,000. And during this whole time, this whole run up, I took out 0 payouts. And that was just because I thought the more money I have, the more money I'm going to be able to make, and the account's just going to keep going up. And then the crash happened, and that left me devastated. It left me depressed. I didn't go out for a couple of months. I was just sitting at home trying to figure out what the hell just happened and how can I get this money back. Now again, keep in mind, I do not have a job at this time because I quit my job because I thought this was going to be my future right here. And this is another mistake that a lot of traders make, is they think just because they make a little bit of money or even a lot of money in this case, they think that they know what they're doing, they're profitable. But in reality, it's very easy to catch beginner's luck and start making money, or even make money for a few months, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 12 months. But eventually the market is going to take that money back if you don't know what you're doing. So as I mentioned earlier, this unprofitable stage is where a lot of traders spend most of their time. Majority of the traders, they are stuck in this stage, and this is where you're going to be for the longest period of time. I've tried to make this as big as possible. I don't think I really succeeded there, but this is where a lot of traders will spend 2, 3, 4, 5 years until you're able to fix your psychology, control your emotions, and build a good trading system. This is where you're going to be. So let me just clear off this board and we'll talk about what traders need to do to get out of this stage. Alright, so as I mentioned, this is where most traders are stuck, and there's multiple reasons for that. A lot of traders get into the business, they're not serious about trading, just like I wasn't serious about trading for the first year, year and a half to 2 years of what I was actually doing, until I found the right mentor for me. In the beginning, I was just taking trades, hope they went my way. I would blow an account, I would fund another one and try again. There was no real system or strategy to what I was doing. I was just hoping to make money rather than actually following a process that would actually allow me to make money. So problem number one, and this is something that I was guilty of. Like I said, I started because I saw traders on social media flaunting money, flaunting their lifestyle. Number one is too much social media. A lot of traders now are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and they're just going through and following other traders. They're seeing other traders make money every single day, and that instantly puts you in a negative mindset, because if you've had a losing day or you didn't take a trade that day, then you're just now itching to make money, and you're going to be forcing trades, taking unnecessary trades, and it's really just going to destroy your mindset. So my number one tip is stop focusing so much on social media and watching other traders and watching what they're doing. Focus on what you need to do. Follow your process and really focus on the things that you can control. That's your effort. That's how disciplined you are, how much time you're putting into learning and executing. All these things are what's going to drive the results. It's not going to be you on social media looking at other people's story and trying to follow what they're doing. Now, the next one is most traders don't have a strategy, or they just hop from one strategy to another. And this is something I think a lot of traders don't want to admit, because they feel like if they admit that they don't have a strategy or they don't know what they're doing on the charts, it's going to mean all the work that they've put in the past, whether they've been trading for 3 months or 3 years, it's going to make that seem like a waste. For me, it wasn't really until I had that conversation when I was right about here, about 2.5 years in, I had to have a real conversation with myself. I was sick of blowing accounts. My credit cards were maxed out, lines of credit maxed out. My bank account was very, very low, and I still wasn't making any money on trading, even though I had spent a ton on coaches and courses, and I had lost a lot more than that on actual trading with blown accounts. So if you're in this unprofitable stage, you need to have a conversation with yourself. Just sit down, have a 20-minute conversation with yourself. What are you doing on the charts? When you're actually trading, does it feel like you know what you're doing? Or are you just waking up in the morning, taking a trade and hoping it goes your way? And if it doesn't, the next trade, you're going to find another strategy to trade. And this is something that social media can negatively influence. I see a lot of traders seeing other traders on social media talking about their system and instantly saying, okay, I want to jump on this one. They start trading that way, take 5, 10, 15, 20 trades, doesn't work out. They find the next person, okay, I'm going to get into their signal group, or I'm going to get into their Telegram and try to take the trades that they take. And it's just not going to work out that way. You need to find one mentor, one system, one strategy that's been proven to work, stick with it, and it's going to take time. It's not going to be over the course of a week or 2 weeks. It's going to take months, if not years. So if you're sitting there thinking to yourself that you don't really have a strategy, then this is something you need to seriously think about and figure out what you're going to do and how you're going to change this problem. Now, number 4, flipping accounts. Again, all these things go back to social media. I see a ton of traders on social media talking about, I'm going to take a $100 account to $100,000, or I'm going to take this $5 account to $50,000. If that's something that you can consistently do, you would be one of the top traders in the world. Hedge funds would be banging at your door. They would be trying to recruit you. Banks would be coming after you. Flipping accounts is not a real thing. It's not a real strategy. It's not something that's duplicatable and sustainable over the long term. So right now, if your strategy is, I have a $50 account and I'm going to turn that into $500 or $5,000 so I can pay my rent next month, that's not a real strategy. You need to break out of that system. That is just something social media has done to fool you, and it's going to be very, very costly in the long run for you. And lastly, traders are too attached to money. Now, this problem is a little bit more complex because it takes time to work past it. And what happens here is traders care more about the idea of making money rather than actually making money. So you might have noticed in a lot of your trades, as soon as you enter a trade, you're now just watching your screen. You're watching the numbers go up and down, and you're so worried about the money that you might lose or the money that you might make that now you've thrown your whole process out the window. If your trade goes negatively against you, you're going to buy in more and try to save that trade rather than just admitting that you were wrong and moving on to the next trade. And this is something that takes time to get past. It's not something that you're just going to have a mental shift and boom, you're done. It's going to come with following the process of trading. It's going to come from following your system, journaling your trades, understanding the statistics of your system. And that's where really you're going to get the comfort to be able to let the trade do what it does and not worry about how much money you made in a trade or how much money you lost in a trade. So those are some of the biggest roadblocks I see with traders that are in this unprofitable stage. And there's a lot more that goes into it. It's just if I talked about everything, this video would be 24 hours long and you'd probably get sick of me talking about it. So let's move on to the next stage. And actually, before we move on to the next stage, let's go back to my story here. So like I said, I started here in 2015 Q4. I was in this unprofitable stage for 2.5 years. And again, during that whole time, these are all the things that I was doing wrong. These are things that I have experienced. These are things that a majority of successful traders experience. They just understand how to get past it. Now in 2018 is where I really decided, look, if this is something that I want to do as a career and I want this to be my full-time income, then I'm going to have to start taking it very, very seriously. So this is around the time where I found my mentor, and this is where I really started understanding what it takes to become a real trader. Before this, all I was doing was taking random trades, having losses, blowing an account, going to watch some videos, trying to find a new strategy, trying to combine a ton of strategies together, whether it's indicators or bots or support resistance, anything that I could find, I would try to combine it and hope it worked, which it never did. And it wasn't until I really decided that I'm going to treat this as a business. I found a mentor that started showing me the ropes in 2018, early 2018. And from here, the things that I did was learn, number one. Second was stick to one system, journal, backtest. Those were the steps that I took in order to get to a point where I felt like I understood what I was doing. I was sticking to one system, so I would see it play out sometimes, I would see it not play out, but in the end I still stuck with it. And because this was a system that was already proven, this was already profitable, and I had seen my mentors do it, I was able to replicate those results and slowly start moving to the next stage. So this right here took me about 6 months of consistently showing up every single day. Every single day I would wake up, I would watch the markets, I would take a trade if there was one to be taken. I was back testing and forward testing. I was journaling my data, and this right here we're going to talk about a little bit more, but that is the most important part of this, because when I was journaling, all this was doing was giving me direction as to what's working and what's not working. And for those of you who follow me on other social media, you know this is what I talk about the most, because this is the biggest game changer for traders. This is where 90% of the results come in. Because if you're not tracking your trades, you're not tracking your data, you're not going to be able to understand what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, if your system is actually working, when it works, what your win rate is, what your hit rate is, what your average risk to reward is. None of these things are going to make sense, and you're not going to be able to really understand what your system is until you get data from your trade journal. And I'll do a little plug here. If you need a trade journal, if you don't have one right now, I'm going to leave a link to my free Discord in the description. And once you get in there, I have a free trade journal that you can download and you can use. It's going to give you all this information that you need to be able to improve and go on to the next step. So like I said, for 6 months, I was doing this. And I wasn't making any money, but more importantly, I wasn't losing any money. I was demo trading and I was trading on a small live account once I got past the demo. And that's the real key here. A lot of traders that are stuck here, they're so focused on making money that they never think about learning and practicing the right way. They just want to click buy and sell and make money. Until you're able to understand that this is what you need to be doing and you take a step back and focus on learning, you're not going to be able to progress and you're just going to hold yourself back in this stage right here. And this is really where you just see your system working. You're practicing, you're seeing what the market does, how certain pairs react, what pairs are you going to be able to trade, what session are you going to be able to trade. And from all this data, you're building a trade plan. So this is going to tell you exactly what you need to do on a daily basis in the market, what your risk management rules are, what your entry rules are, what are your confirmations, what are your trade management rules. All these things are going to be in your trade plan. So once I spent these 6 months learning, I got to a stage where I was break even. I wasn't making money, but I wasn't losing money. And my main focus here was just to take good trades. Right? That's all I was doing. I was not focused on how much money I was making. I was just focused on following the process and taking good trades that aligned with my system. And having that shift, going from losing money to not losing money, is a big one. And that's something a lot of traders try to skip. They want to go from here to here, but that's not reality. That's not what you're going to do. You're going to slowly creep into the break-even stage. And from here, from the break-even stage, it's a very, very small gap to be able to become profitable. Because all you need to do is focus on the things that work. Again, going back to the trade journal, it's feeding you data, it's giving you information. And now you have this feedback loop of this I'm doing right, this I'm doing wrong. So I'm going to cut that out and I'm going to continue doing these things. And that's how you slowly move into the profitable stage. And now you're still doing all these things, but you're actually making money because you can show consistent results over a period of time. So on a monthly basis, if you're making 2, 3, 4, 5% a month, you're doing really well as a trader. So this is where I spent roughly 9 months. And for 9 months, all I was doing was, hey, can I be profitable over X period of time, right? And it needs to be at least 6 months for me that you need to show profitability. It's not going to be a week or 2 weeks of profitability. Like I said, when I first started, I had 9 months of making money when I didn't know what I was doing. So if I can show myself that for 9 months, I'm following a system, I know what I'm doing on the charts, I have a process that I'm following, and I'm making money consistently. And it's not going to be every single month you're going to be in the green. There's going to be months where you're in the red. But understanding your win rate and your risk to reward ratio from your trade journal is going to be able to show you profitability. So 9 months I spent here, and once I was finally able to see 9 months of consistent data, that's where I really started building my accounts. So now keep in mind, at my early stage, I lost a ton of money, so I don't have a bunch of money here to be able to put it into an account and be able to make a couple of % a month and be able to live off of that. So I had people in my network, in my mentors network, that were able to fund me because, again, I had consistent results and I was able to show them the data. I was able to show them exactly what I was doing on the charts, and I was able to get funded by private investors. And this is before prop firms were a thing. So this was early 2019 that I was doing this, mid 2019 maybe, that I was doing this. And this is where I started with a $20,000 account at first. And once I was able to show a month, 2 months of consistent results, they upped me to 50,000, slowly up to 6 figures, and then multiple 6 figures. And then eventually in 2020, when FTMO rolled around, and they were funding traders, and that's where I started adding more capital and really scaling from there. Because once you become profitable and you can show consistent results, scaling becomes the easy part. Because if you can show investors, if you can show prop firms that you're able to trade an account and make consistent profits, then they're going to fund you so they can make money and you can make money. And as good as prop firms are and as helpful as they are to traders, one thing I noticed is a lot of traders from this stage right here want to go directly here. And they want to start applying for prop firms, they want to start getting funded, and they want to start making money. But they haven't gone through all of this right here. You need to be able to show yourself that you are profitable. If you don't have a journal and you don't have data showing yourself that you're profitable, how is any investor going to fund you, right? A lot of traders, they just think that because I can trade and I can make money in a week, I've doubled my account before, that I should be able to get funded and I'm going to trade and I'm going to become full-time. But that's why a lot of traders are stuck at this stage, because they're just trying to skip these steps and they want to get to the money so bad. They're so focused on the money that that's all they can think about is, I want to get funded, I want to start making money. First thing you need to do is start learning. And if you don't have a place to learn from, again, I'll link my free Discord down below and you can reach out to me in there and ask me questions and look at how I trade and be able to learn from there. Next thing you need to do is start journaling. Again, it is in my Discord. You have everything available to you. And then you need to start back testing. Find that strategy, start journaling, start back testing, and see what works for you, what doesn't, so you can move through these steps, do it the right way, rather than trying to just jump all of these steps and spending years over here, which most traders do until they end up quitting. All right, so that's it for this video, guys. Hope it's been helpful. Hope you guys understand a little bit more of the journey that a trader has to go through. Let me know in the comments where you think you are in these stages and what you need to do to move to the next step. And I'll say it again, if you need any help, if you're struggling and you don't understand what you're doing, the link to the Discord is in the description below. Reach out to me in there and I'll help you get started with a strategy that's proven and that's been shown to be profitable in the long term. So that's it for this video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.